Hi, this is Laila reporting live from the Ottawa Regional Science Fair. We're going to interview some of the very interesting projects and show you all what happened. Let's go! Hi, I'm here with a very interesting project. It's called the air freshener. I'm here with
Brianna.
Okay.
So, my project, I was trying to see the effect of different brands of aerosol air fresheners on plants. My guess is that the air fresheners would have a negative effect on the plants, and it would be harder for the plants to grow because there are really harmful chemicals in air fresheners that have been known to harm humans and give humans things like cancer and allergies. I would spray the air freshener that is labeled, so it's breathe inside like that, and I did that every day for 22 days. Around day 10, all my plants started to die, and all the plants being sprayed, except for the one being sprayed with Glade, were completely dead by day 16. Okay, so that the plant being sprayed with Glade only grew half as much as the control.
So Glade was the healthiest?
Yeah.
And this is the results?
Yeah. Yes. So this is the heights of the different plants. So if you look, you can see this was Glade. So it's only half as much as the plant that wasn't being sprayed in fall.
Thank you for that very good presentation, Brianna. Thank you. So here we are with a project on the effect of beverages on teeth.
This is my project. It's the effect of drinks on your teeth. So this is the example of your teeth. Imagine drinking Coca-Cola. It does that to your teeth. If you drink Gatorade, it turns them blue. If you drink Red Bull, it turns black all over. And if you drink vinegar, which is very unlikely, your whole teeth will disintegrate. It's simple. You take an egg, you boil it, you put it inside a container, you take a drink, you put it in, you leave it in for days, you come back, and it shows you what's going to happen to your teeth if you were to drink that.
And this is
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit, and this one?
Lemon juice.
Oh. Lemon juice or lemonade?
Lemon juice.
Okay.
It makes your teeth softer, and it's bad if it goes soft. And then on the top, there's bubbles all over your teeth. It's an example of a plaque. You waste it all over your teeth.
Okay, so here you use the materials. That's 14 hard-boiled eggs, 7 plastic containers, Coca-Cola, Gatorade, ruby red grapefruit juice, vinegar, litmus paper. What's that?
It's a paper to see how much pH, how much level the acids and stuff are inside. The one that had the most was vinegar, and the second one was Red Bull. People usually think Coca-Cola is worse, but actually other drinks are worse than
Really nice. Thank you. That was a really nice presentation. So I'm here with a very interesting project of
Heart disease and stroke.
Okay, so can you tell us what it's
So I'm taking biocompatible solvent, which is omega-3s and omega-6, discrete droplets of it, and I'm injecting it in the cardiovascular system, directly into the veins and the arteries, so that they can dissolve arterial plaque, which is primarily composed of cholesterol. This arterial plaque is what causes most heart disease and stroke, actually almost all of it. And circulated through your system of cardiovascular system, you could dissolve a significant amount of cholesterol that you would reverse atherosclerosis, which is the accumulation of arterial plaque in the arteries, which means if I manage to go through animal testing and eventually to human testing, that maybe like nobody, if it got caught, nobody would have to die from heart disease and stroke any longer. This is a very safe method because we consume a lot of fatty acids and omega-3 and omega-6 on a daily basis. I talked to a cardiologist in Montreal. He researches heart disease and stroke, and he says that it's very ineffective encouraged me a lot to proceed to the next step of animal testing.
I hope that you can be a doctor someday because you'd be really good at that.
Thank you. Any questions? So this is a little bit of a demo. It's not my experimental procedure. That's a bit too big to bring here. This is the water insoluble biocompatible solvent. And what I'm showing is that it doesn't dissolve and mix with the water. That's one of the major breakthroughs of my project. So look up here. See that yeah, so solvent, you just saw the yellow bubble there, it like separated into microscopic little drops.
So good luck with that project, and I hope that it will help a lot of people someday.
You too, I hope so too. And you're very good at taking.
Ours is relational framing and racism.
Okay.
Relational framing is basically when you associate something, so you think of something when I say something. So it's a verbal behavior way, and so if I say bunnies, you might associate hop hop, so you might think hop hop. This would also work if we tell you something bad about a country, and you might start associating or thinking that, oh, well, they must be unclean, they must be unsuccessful, and they must be unfriendly. So we went from there, and we developed a survey, and we handed them out to various different classes.
We gave them 3 headlines. We made up the headlines ourselves. And then 4 countries: Sweden, Kadu, Pakistan, and Ireland. Kadu is not actually a real country. We had our headlines. These were positive for the most part. And then the only one with negative headlines is Kadu. For the most part, Sweden, as well as Ireland, had very, very high ratings. So once yes, that's very good. People love these countries. For Kadu, or a made-up country, the one with the negative connotations, there were 4s and 5s, meaning they thought it was really unclean, unsuccessful, unfriendly, even though they had absolutely no idea this country existed about 5 minutes before they did the survey.
And the headlines do have nothing to do with any of these. So they started assuming various bad things about them from those headlines that might not even have anything to do with them.
In Pakistan, you see a lot of, in the media, a lot of sort of things like terrorism towards Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what we did was give them positive headlines. They sort of had, they were more leaning towards the unsafe part. But our positive headlines actually brought them back towards the front. These sort of new ideas about this country made them think that maybe it's not as bad as the media says it is.
Our conclusion is that we can stop racism or any type of discrimination if the media would actually start publishing not only the bad stuff but also the good stuff. We are able to actually change people's opinions on places by just 3 different headlines. So you can imagine what the media could do with that.
Okay, well, thank you. That was a really interesting project.
No food or drink in the field houses. No food or drinks.
Hi, I'm here with a really interesting project. How does temperature affect your mind?
For my project, I took some test subjects and I gave them several mental tasks to perform, some in a cold environment and some in a warmer environment. And I was testing whether they would work better in the colder one or the warmer one. In my results, I found that people work better in a warmer temperature. I made first several mental tests, like this math test, this Sudoku, and this is a puzzle that I used. And then I found 10 volunteers to do them. I cooled the room down and I recorded the temperature. Another day I heated up the room and I recorded the temperature. And then I had all my volunteers complete the tests again.
Represents warm temperature, and the blue represents the cold temperature. So can you tell us your conclusion?
Well, in conclusion, I didn't get the results that I was hoping for, and because my hypothesis stated that I thought everybody would work better in a colder environment rather than a warmer one. But the data I collected proved that people work better in a warmer environment rather than a colder one.
Well, thank you. That was a really interesting project, and I hope you do well on the judges. Here we are with Sarah Parker with her project, Is It Drinkable? Can you explain to us what you did here?
So in developing countries today, unsanitary water is a really large problem. Over 1 billion people in the world lack access to clean water. Unsanitary water causes many diseases and illnesses. 3.5 million people die each year because of these diseases and illnesses. So my idea for my experiment was to design and build filters that were more attainable for people in developing countries so they were easy to build. My first filter is a multi-level filter, so it includes many different layers of rocks, gravel, a coffee filter, charcoal, and sand. This filter is composed of different layers of sand and cotton. This one is a dual process filter, so I boiled the water before pouring it through this filter. The boiling, the heat energy transfers into the bacteria proteins, and then it can't function or reproduce anymore. And then I poured it through this cheesecloth. I then used calcium hypochlorite. I added this to the water to kill the bacteria. For my procedure, I collected the water from dirty water from the Rideau River by letting down a bucket on a string to collect contaminated water. I then tested using a E. coli bacteria water testing kit. I also tested using an aquarium water testing kit. So for my procedure, I ran the water through my different filters. I ran it through 3 times. So then I tested after each time so that I could get a precise average. And have my results here. This is my general hardness. General hardness measures the amount of positive ions in a substance like calcium and magnesium. Carbonate hardness measures the negative ions in a substance. pH is a test of alkalinity and acidity in a substance. It's measured on a pH scale from 1 to 14, 14 being very alkaline and 1 being very acidic. And this one is easiness, cost effectiveness, environmental friendliness. So this chart shows my E. coli testing, which shows that filter 1 and filter 2 both failed at removing the E. coli, while filter 3 and filter 4 both succeeded. In conclusion, my filter 3 was the most effective at my experiment because it had a dual process. One, to kill the bacteria, the second, to remove the particles.
Thank you for that great presentation. I hope you do well in the judging thing. I'm here in the project about how fevers change the day. So can you explain to us what you did?
Okay, so for this project, what I did was I asked people from 4 different age groups, which was kids, preteens, teenagers, and adults. 15 most common fears. So a few are like the fear of heights, fear of the dark, and fear of death, things like that. So for younger kids, there was different fears like fear of the dark or fear of like spiders or something. But for older kids, it was more like, and adults, even fear of death, fear of commitment, fear of rejection. My hypothesis is that the younger ages will have more common fears than the adults. Preteens have the most yeses. So I was right about the adults having the most no's, but I thought that the kids would have the most yeses, so I was wrong about that hypothesis. The reason for that is that a part in your brain called the amygdala, it gets smaller as you grow older. And the amygdala is the center of fear in the brain. And there's also a part in your brain called the frontal cortex, which is right here. So that's the area responsible for the thoughts and intentions for others. So when you get older, that also gets smaller, so that changes. Fear affects people in different ways. Sometimes people think it's a small thing, but sometimes it actually really affects people, like with anxiety and symptom disorders.
That was a really good project. I hope my fears change with age. I don't want to be scared of that stuff anymore. But, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm here with a very interesting project, how to charge a phone while canoeing. So can you show us what we did here, what you did here?
Well, I developed a system that I can tow behind a canoe and it creates power. I'm changing the kinetic energy of the water moving to electrical energy. And this can plug into your phone. It'll get about 3 to 4 volts at racing speeds, which will charge your phone in 5 minutes, enough to make an emergency phone call.
Can you explain more about what you did?
Well, this right here is from a wind-up flashlight. So everything you see here is stuff I can get at a local hardware store.
Projects. I hope you do well with the judge thingy. Bye. I'm here at a very interesting project. project about mirrors called Miroir de l'Infini. L'Infini, what's the translation?
Infinity mirror.
Okay. Can you show us what you did here?
It's a reflective image of lights that go on forever. But it doesn't go on forever because with every reflection, a little bit of light leaves the picture. My project was on how close the light are together, how does it affect the image. And this one, as you can see, the lights are a lot farther from each other than on this one, which they're a lot closer together. So mine was like how far will the image go depending on how closer they are together. And I figured out that because the lights are close together, it makes it a lot lighter. So then every time it goes farther because as much light leaves the picture, it still goes on because there's more light.
Thank you for that very interesting project. I hope you do well with the judges.
Thank you.
Okay, my hypothesis was that the science fair is really cool. And my conclusion is that the science fair is awesome and Steve and Leacock could have their own science fair every year. This is Laila reporting live from the Ottawa Regional Science Fair. I'll see you next time.